Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new episode of our F1 22 My Team Career Mode here on the channel. I hope you're all having a great day. Today we go to our first brand new circuit on the calendar here in this F1 22 My Team series, and that is actually the Miami circuit here. So very excited for one of our team's home races. Our team here with Trackhouse Racing has two home races on the season. So hopefully we can, bring them a relatively competitive effort here in this first one as we continue to try and make some upgrades and whatnot to this car. And you can see actually where we stack up right now on the R&Ds. So we've actually been overtaken again by Aston Martin, and Williams is really close to us. So we're still right at the bottom, and that's really the kind of the name of the game for this first season of this career mode, is more or less just trying to get ourselves out of a bottom feeding team. And what I'm really hoping for is late in the season we get some regulation changes announced going into next season. I feel like that would be our best opportunity to really be able to make some gains to get into the midfield for next season. If we get lucky though, hopefully we can get into the midfield before this season is even over, but obviously it's a work in progress. We'll have to wait and see what happens here now as we were getting our first laps underway in this Miami circuit. And such a nice flowing circuit. I've made quite a few laps around here already previously on the Xbox edition of the F1 22 game and on the PC edition right here, so I had gotten some laps under my belt, got some experience in and whatnot, and I was overall enjoying the track quite a bit. This is a corner right here, that sweeping left-hander. I was struggling pretty much all episode with that corner. That's the one corner I haven't been able to quite get down yet here, but this is such a nice section here when you go under the little overpass highway right there and continue on. So we were setting decent lap times. It wasn't the best. We didn't have the best pace in the car. I didn't quite know where we would stack up here. It's such a prominent high-speed circuit here. It's so important to have good top-end pace in your car, and with this Trackhouse Racing car, it's kind of a mixed bag, so we'll have to wait and see how we stack up in qualifying, and that's what we would shift our focus to here now, as you see that Hard Rock Stadium there in the background. Now, what a beautiful circuit this is. What a beautiful sight. Real water in the F1 game, actually, not fake water there, so a nice little addition, I guess. Now, as you can see, us putting our beautiful helmet on there. Speaking of our helmet, kind of a little segue, we actually have officially got a modded livery that will be in this My Team Career Mode starting in the Monaco episode for this Trackhouse team. I'm very excited for you guys to see that. If you go onto the community post of the channel, you can already see a look at it and the fire suits that are coming along with it, made by a community member of Sanox. So I'm very excited to get to that Monaco episode so you guys can see it on track for the first time. But we still got today with Miami as well as the Spanish GP to get through first here now as we come through with that chicane, making a little bit of a mistake there on my opening lap. It was a bit of a rough first lap. A lot of my first laps are pretty rough in qualifying. We currently were P6 on the board, but obviously that's not going to stick. So we would have to make a lap late here in the session in Q1, and we were currently P17. We've only made it into Q2 once so far this season. That was in Jeddah, and it was only because our rear wing got stuck open. So here we come through this chicane. This time got through there quite a bit better, smoother, and we were able to gain a couple tenths of a second. Got through there though on the left-hander a little bit rough. So we ended up gaining time, but then we gave a little bit of a back here. But by the time I came through to the final corner, I actually lost time overall in this final sector. Unfortunately, we were only about 2.5 tenths better. We crossed the line, go P15 briefly, but it would not be enough to make it into Q2. We would end up qualifying here in P18, just behind our teammate of Oscar Piastri. Max Verstappen and George Russell both go out in Q1. Verstappen, on the other hand, he didn't even set a lap time. What is going on for the Red Bull defending World Drivers Champion? This is a huge opportunity for Charles Leclerc to take advantage. Not sure what happened there, but let's head to the grid and see what happens here in Miami.
Welcome to the Magic City. We're here at the Miami International Autodrome, the home of the Hard Rock Stadium, a multi-purpose sports and entertainment hub which has hosted Super Bowls, Baseball World Series, numerous rock concerts, and now, for the first time, Formula One. Sitting at the southeastern coast of Florida, the Miami International Autodrome has 19 corners and 3.36 miles of racing. It's a circuit designed to encourage close racing while meeting the highest safety standards. Either way, I'm sure it's one that will please the fans. Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. Charles Leclerc lines up on pole position, and the smooth operator Carlos Sainz completes the front row. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Perez, Hamilton, Valtteri Bottas, and Fernando Alonso, Norris, Magnussen, Ocon, and Pierre Gasly, Mick Schumacher, Tsunoda, Daniel Ricciardo, and Vettel. Cho, Stroll, Oscar Piastri and Golden Boy, Russell, Latifi, Albon and Max Verstappen completes the grid. Which of these talented drivers will come out on top today? It's race day yet again, and joining me for a chat is Anthony Davidson. And our racers are certainly in for a rough day today. What will you be watching out for as they head into turn 1?
Well, the start of the race is always one of the most nerve-wracking parts. You have to hope that everyone is able to get off to a clean start, and this is possibly the trickiest part of the entire race. So many drivers in such a small space, and finding your braking point into turn 1 as well. It's a testament to the driver's skill that there aren't more incidents.
There you saw the starting grid as we're ready to go lights out and underway here from this Miami GP, the first of two now United States Grand Prix. I'm not terribly far away from the United States, so it's almost like a home GP to myself, but not quite when we come to the United States here. But obviously very excited when we get the chance to go to Montreal here very soon now as we would pull up to the grid and get ready to go lights out from the 18 starting position. Charles Leclerc, Carlos Sainz, the two Ferrari teammates on the front row. Sainz looking for a big rebound weekend after a disastrous Imola weekend in the last episode with the sprint race and GP. It's going to be 5 red lights, and it's going to be lights out very quick, actually, for the lights out. We are underway here in Miami. It's a great start for Leclerc on the medium. Sainz is on the soft compound tire, a bit of a different strategy, and he's already run into the side of his Ferrari teammate into turn 1. A big shunt right there again from Carlos Sainz. Does he have wing damage? It looks okay, but we'll have to wait and see there. But he clearly ran directly into the side of his teammate of Leclerc, and he cannot afford to damage that front wing and have to come into the pit lane at the conclusion of this lap because he's on a completely different strategy with the soft compound tire. Looked like he was trying to get himself out in front of Leclerc and then try and take control of the race there. You see George Russell going a little bit wide. He's just behind myself and Oscar Piastri. Verstappen hasn't made up anything here so far on this opening lap now as we head down this long straightaway here. Such a long straightaway. Got to be so defensive here. You got to really be on the attack as well if you're in my position now, as you see Sergio Perez just behind Carlos Sainz, who seems to be holding his own, but it's hard to tell if there's anything going on currently with that Ferrari. But you can see a bit of a gap here as we come through more of a downforce focused section. It looks like Leclerc was able to actually put a bit of a gap here on Carlos Sainz, so there definitely might be an issue right there for the Spaniard, who had potentially picked up damage in turn 1 after a miserable, like I said, Imola GP in the last episode, potentially carrying over to the Miami GP here 1 episode later now, as you see everybody nice and calm down this next back straightaway, the second long straightaway here on the circuit now, as I was settling in behind my teammate of Oscar Piastri here in the 19th position as we head down into this heavy braking zone. A lot of heavy braking zones on this circuit, obviously, with these really long straightaways that we have here. Now, Carlos Sainz was in the pit lane at the conclusion of this first and opening lap, so we can confirm he picked up wing damage with that contact with his teammate of Charles Leclerc, so he was in getting a brand new front wing there and putting on a fresh set of medium compound tires. The replay here of what happened with Carlos Sainz, you see him on that soft compound tire, an advantage right there, an opportunity for him to really make a difference here today, but he just sends it up the inside of Leclerc. Not sure what he was trying to do. It's just he completely missed the braking zone. Pays the price for it, though, does Carlos Sainz here. Already to lap 3, though. DRS open here. We are on the attack right behind our teammate of Oscar Piastri. Max Verstappen, he was only in 20th place. He wasn't going anywhere. George Russell, he was able to get past myself and Piastri and whatnot without too much issue here, as we're having this little wheel-to-wheel scrap with our Trackhouse Racing teammates. So far, we've beat Piastri in every race this season, but there's certainly been some GPs where Piastri's had more pace than myself. He's just not had the durability luck that we have had. He's had 3 mechanical failures so far in 4 episodes. Hopefully he can finish what would just be his second race of the season here today now, as we continue to try and put some pressure on the Australian. Obviously, with this Trackhouse Racing team, Justin Marks hasn't set huge goals for myself and Oscar Piastri here, so our finishing results this season isn't the most important thing to Justin Marks. He's not pressuring us over that here. Now it's all about more or less just actually finishing the races, gaining experience, while we, myself and Oscar, try to help lead the team in a nice developmental direction to get this car competitive going into Season 2. So hopefully that's what we can do, and hopefully both myself and Oscar will be continuing to join this team next season in this My Team career mode. But you saw I was able to pass Oscar Piastri there, move up into now P17, as Max Verstappen actually was just behind me now finally. So it was all the way on lap 7. It took Max Verstappen to be able to gain just a few positions and get to myself here down this long straightaway. He has a DRS, but I pull over to the right. I know I can't defend against the Red Bull in a straight line, so there he goes on past, cruises on by into 17th place, but it's already a terrible race for Max Verstappen. Carlos Sainz with his wing damage had to get that new wing. Obviously, he was able to work his way past me eventually as well on lap 9. So unfortunately, down into the 19th position we go. So still some work to do here in this Miami GP and with this Trackhouse car in general. We just don't quite have the pace that I feel like we need to have here, and hopefully we can step it up. We haven't really been upgrading this car a lot. Maybe need to focus a little bit more on getting some major upgrades instead of a bunch of minor upgrades, but we'll have to wait and see where we go with that. As you see, Leclerc, Perez, and Lewis Hamilton currently running in P3. And speaking of Lewis Hamilton, here's his teammate, George Russell. Actually, he was in a side-by-side little scrap right here with an Aston Martin of Sebastian Vettel. Picked up some damage on the front wing, actually. Would have to immediately come into the pit lane, George Russell would. So another hit there for another driver that we expect to see running up towards the top 5, as I actually get a warning there for exceeding track limits in the corner that I mentioned I was struggling through with pretty much all weekend long here. Now as the pit window opens, coming to lap 13. So now up into P18 because of Russell's misfortune, is him and Verstappen both having pretty miserable GPs so far now. But Verstappen was on the move, trying to move his way forward here. Now is up to P16 as I was coming into the pit lane here at the conclusion of this 13th lap, and it's the same strategy that we've seen every single episode here. We're gonna go and put on the hard compound tire, go to the end of this GP. I cannot stand this new tire rule in F1 now. It just makes no differentiation in the strategies amongst myself or the AI as well. Nonetheless, though, now rejoining the circuit here currently in P21, but that's going to cycle through and we'll be a little bit further ahead, but not by much, that is for sure here now as we would continue on here. Lap 14, here comes Charles Leclerc, the leader and dominator of the season so far, into the pit lane. He won last episode. He's won 3 races so far this season. He has been on an absolute tear, to say the least now, as you saw Lewis Hamilton joining him, Alonso and them are coming in as well. And actually, at the end of lap 14, Max Verstappen finds himself in a little bit of drama with Nicholas Latifi here coming into the pit lane. Latifi's trying to pit, Verstappen's trying to stay on the track. They make severe contact and none of them can choose where to go, and they pretty much wreck each other without actually doing it. And Latifi stops directly in front of Lance Stroll, who slows them, which allowed me to get close to Lance Stroll. But Verstappen, you see it right here on board with him. What in the world is Nicholas Latifi doing here against Max Verstappen? This was after Verstappen had made a pit stop, so he had to come in a lap later to fix his front wing. So Verstappen's terrible race somehow gets even worse. And now on lap 15, this was a little bit before Verstappen's pit stop, actually a mechanical failure for Lando Norris. Another McLaren mechanical failure on the season. No safety car comes out, we stay green, and now we're up into P18 here, and things are slowly starting to shift in towards the favor of us here because the driver's having issues. Nicholas Latifi as well would have a mechanical failure just a few laps later. He was out of the GP after that major contact with Verstappen, who was back down into 19th place here. Now as I'm trying to put the pressure now on Lance Stroll, you saw the replay there with Latifi nearly stopping in front of Stroll. Stroll gave up so much time and allowed me to be able to have an opportunity to do this right here. Put the attack on him there, and the Aston Martin here, as we're going to be wheel to wheel with a fellow Canadian here in towards this final legitimate corner now, as we're still wheel to wheel here as we head towards this front straightaway. Now who's going to get the position? It's going to be us. We actually get clear of Stroll here down this front stretch, but he's already looking like he wants to fight back here down into turn 1. Stroll is not going to make it easy, that's for sure. And we continue wheel to wheel on the exit of turn 1, but Stroll is going to have a decent run there into the right-hander, but I was able to kind of pinch him towards that curb and just get through there overall better and move back up into P16 here. But how long can we hold on to the position, because we know we have a long straightaway with DRS about to be activated. There you see the little late race update here. 10 laps remaining so far in this Miami GP, and Charles Leclerc leads by 8.9 seconds over Perez, and Hamilton just within half a second of Perez, but it's never been able to really actually do anything against Perez here today. As you can see, a little side-by-side battle here between Pierre Gasly as well as Esteban Ocon in that Alpine wheel-to-wheel as they come through turn 1. Who's going to get the position there? It looks like it's going to favor Pierre Gasly in this battle here down towards the corner. Yes, it will. Gasly moves ahead ahead of Ocon, Magnussen, Tsunoda, and Carlos Sainz round out the top 10. So Sainz is having a decent rebound so far. He's back into the points. Mick Schumacher and George Russell 11th and 12th. Sebastian Vettel having a strong day in 13th place over Ricciardo, Zhou Guanyu, Stroll, myself, Verstappen, as well as Oscar Piastri and Alex Albon are the remaining drivers on the circuit now. As you can see, this is actually the moment where Lance Stroll passed me. You saw it there in the late race update that he was already ahead, but it was a very simple pass down that second long straightaway there, and I really didn't have anything I could defend him over with, because I'm trying to save the battery as well. It's really crucial to save the battery in this game so far. As you can see, a bit of a moment for myself there on the curbing, and Verstappen was able to get past it and finally run us down and moves ahead there. So we go back down into 18th place here with less than 10 laps to go. Now he's in a side-by-side battle with Lance Stroll into this final corner. It looks like there was nearly some contact actually between Verstappen and Lance Stroll, and there's some more contact right there. Verstappen's trying to come into the pit lane, and Stroll's trying to stay out on the track. Did Verstappen pick up wing damage maybe with that contact right there in that corner? Because they have that moment that we saw Verstappen involved with earlier, and I don't even know how Verstappen's terrible race manages to get even worse than it just did a little bit ago, as Piastri is going to roll through and go past that. Then Verstappen goes back on the track, so there's 2 free spots, and then it got better for us. You can see right here Schumacher and Russell come together, and there's some damage for Schumacher. Vettel's going to come into the pits as well. He must have picked up some damage somewhere. That's 2 more spots for myself, so suddenly we've just gained 4 positions free. So we're up into P13. Things really starting to shake up here in these closing moments of the Miami GP. The only thing I think crazier that could happen is a Leclerc retirement at this point here. Now as we come through to lap 25, just 5 laps to go here in this Miami GP, 12.4 seconds behind Daniel Ricciardo. You see on the track map on that second long straightaway, yellow flags throughout. It's actually for Pierre Gasly in the AlphaTauri, who's having a mechanical failure here. So that's going to be another position for myself. And oh my goodness, Daniel Ricciardo has just run into the back of Gasly and crashed himself out of the Miami GP. Both McLarens retired today. What a shunt from Ricciardo on board. Gasly was directly in the middle of the circuit. What was Gasly doing? First of all, Ricciardo piles into the back of him. The safety car comes out. We gain 2 more spots. We're into 10th place suddenly. How in the world has this happened? But the safety car, the same lap that the safety car came in, it had to come in, because we were only going to be left with 2 laps of racing. So there was not enough time for the whole field to be able to gather themselves up. There was actually only 3 cars caught up here for the restart of this race. I was trying to catch up, just not enough time. Like I said, the safety car is coming in. So here we are in 10th place, 4 seconds ahead of Lance Stroll now at this point. Suddenly, we have been gifted potentially our first point in Formula 1. Leclerc gets back underway here with Perez and Hamilton trailing, but Alonso on back is just too far gone. They are 5+ seconds just about behind, as what a just absolute mess the final 10 laps have turned into here in this Miami Circuit GP. Now, as you can see myself running in this 10th position, coming to the final 2 laps here. So at this point, I have an 8-second gap on Stroll. So what happened there, it was really weird. Stroll, for some reason, when we were going back green flag racing, Stroll just went really slow, and he gave up an extra 5 seconds basically here. But Schumacher, Ocon, they were able to get past Stroll, and actually Schumacher was already running me down, but there was obviously nowhere near enough time for him to gain 3 seconds in 1 lap at this point as we came through to the final lap of this GP. An unbelievable turn of events, to say the least, here in Miami, in the first ever F1 race in Miami. But it's Charles Leclerc who holds on anyways through all the chaos at the end of this thing, and he is going to come through out of the final little sharp apex there and through the sweeping left and right hander, and Charles Leclerc is going to win here in Miami over Sergio Perez. Lewis Hamilton will join them on the podium. What a day for Hamilton, and for us, I mean, what a day to say the least. We have fought hard with this Trackhouse Racing team so far early on in the season, and we haven't had a car capable of running anywhere close to the top 10. Not even today has this car been capable of running top 10, but what's kept us in it is just avoiding the chaos, and suddenly we round the final couple of corners, and for the first time in Trackhouse Racing history, and for the first time in my F1 career, we're going to come through to score our very first F1 point with a 10th place result. How about that? We will absolutely take that here with Trackhouse, and gives us a little bit of confidence and motivation going forward here for the future and remainder of this season, as George Russell is going to win Driver of the Day. Let's head to the podium for the celebrations.
And that's the checkered flag. What an amazing victory in what has been a great Miami Grand Prix. Tell me, Ant, how How do you think they were able to deliver such an incredible result today?
I think a large part of the result comes down to temperament. They were able to keep their heads when everyone around them was losing theirs, and that's allowed them to get the best out of the car, to maximise the strategy, and to stay out of trouble.
Looking at the podium, you can see that red suit familiar to fans across the globe. A world-class win for a world-class team. Ferrari, do it again.
How about that? Charles Leclerc with the W again. I mean, unbelievable. 4 wins, what, I think now in 5 races, and his worst finish is second place at Jeddah in the Saudi Arabian GP. And most importantly for Leclerc is Verstappen had such a miserable GP. Nowhere even close to the points. He was able to extend his point lead by over a full race over Max Verstappen, and Verstappen and Red Bull, I'm sure, are hoping that something goes wrong for Leclerc in one of these next few races with a mechanical issue or something. Here, as you can see, the finishing order with Hamilton on the podium, Alonso with a spectacular day in 4th, Bottas up there in 5th place as well in that Alfa Romeo. His teammate Zhou Guanyu all the way down in 18th place. That was another driver, by the way, towards the end of the race that had to come into the pit lane due to some wing damage there. That one I forgot to cover, but he did end up in the pit lane for that. As you can see, Leclerc has a 45-point lead over Max Verstappen here, so definitely not good for Red Bull and Max Verstappen. And you look at that constructor situation right now, 20 points separate Red Bull from Ferrari, as well as, you know, fortunately for Verstappen and Red Bull, it's still early on in the season, so they got time to be able to work on their car because Ferrari is starting to kind of pull away from Red Bull, and Mercedes is catching Red Bull in the R&D right now. Red Bull's kind of dropping the ball a little bit here, and they really do need to step it up as quick as they possibly can, because even though it is early in the season, you can lose a lot of ground early in the season that you might not be able to make up later. So Verstappen, Red Bull, they definitely need to step it up a little bit here in these coming episodes. And there you see myself getting some more R&D upgrades coming into the car, and I think from this point on, what we're going to try and do, like I said, is kind of try and focus on major upgrades here like that, and see if we can maybe make some more progress that way, but I don't know yet. We'll have to decide as a team here with Trackhouse and Justin Marks and Oscar Piastri on what we do there. But if you guys enjoyed, you know what to do. That's going to wrap it up for today here in the Miami GP. Our first point in Formula 1 history. It was a very lucky point here in this race, but doesn't change anything. We still picked it up now. And in the next one, we head to the Spanish GP with a new layout there on that final sector with that sweeping left-hander. I'm excited for that. Looks a lot better to race on, so we'll see how it goes when we head into Spain. That does it for me. I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you all have a great day, and I'll see you guys next time.